Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Crainer. Today I have a good friend of mine, Fabio Costante here. He is the CEO of the Windsor-Essex Community Housing Corporation, CHC. Was also a city councillor in Windsor and former employment lawyer, I believe. Was it employment?
Employment and labor law,
Oh,
yes.
Yes. So we'll be talking a lot about his background today, and very excited to have you.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to being on Coffee with Crainer. I've been watching so many of your shows, so
Yeah.
I hope I can live up to, all the past guests that you had. You had such dynamic people on this show. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good people.
To start, where's your favorite place for coffee?
So I thought about this. So here's what I'll say. When I'm downtown, I'm going to go to Coffee Exchange.
Mhm.
It's just on Olette.
Yep. Right down the street.
I think Councillor Agostino would be very happy that I picked a place downtown. But that would be my go-to. But I've upped my coffee game a bit in the last several months. So if you notice,
I see the espresso. Yeah.
you won't see it on the screen, but you got an espresso machine here in the office. I got a French press at home, and I make espresso at home, but I make it the old school Italian way, which is like on this kettle over an oven.
Okay.
It's like a stainless steel kettle, and it's very basic, but it's the best, like most dense coffee, and I would highly recommend it over any expensive machine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you boil the water, obviously.
Yeah, you boil the water and you pack the coffee in this little packer, and then the water boils up through the coffee and then into the main compartment. Yeah. I would highly recommend it. Maybe $20 for the kettle, and you're good for life.
Yes, so. And you pay one Starbucks drink is $20.
That's right.
Talk to us about. We'll start with law. I know you also taught at the University of Windsor. How did you first become passionate about employment and labor law?
Yeah, so it actually started for me in my articling when I was articling over 10, 11, 12 years ago now. And I was at a full-service firm, McTagg Law Firm in Windsor, that offered every area of law except for criminal law and family law at the time. And so I got to dabble into all these different areas of law. I did my undergrad in business and economics, did my MBA, so naturally I thought I was going to be interested in corporate law, but what actually drew my interest was labor and employment law. And at the time, now Justice King, George King at the time, was a partner there, and I learned quite a bit from him. He specialized in that area as well. And I just drew a liking to the area, both from a substantive law perspective, but also from a very practical day-to-day kind of what you do. A lot of it was somewhat litigious in nature, disputes in the workplace, whether they're arbitrations, whether they're court hearings or proceedings. And I enjoyed that. There was a lot of variability in the work. I found other areas of law were a bit more routine. Whereas employment law, and then to an even larger degree, criminal law, which is an area that I kind of dabbled in a bit in my practice as a prosecutor for a few years, has a significant amount of variability, and every day is different. You got to be able to think on your toes, be flexible, and advocate for your clients, and every case is different, right? So how you adapt to different cases and the strategies that you employ for cases add a little bit of spunk to the day, which I really enjoyed. And I still do teach periodically at the university as a sessional. In fact, I just got asked to teach employment law next semester, and I'm actually mulling that over whether or not I can actually accommodate it next semester. But so I enjoy that from time to time. It's my way of giving back to the youth. It's given me so much. It's my way of giving back.
Yeah, I know you've, after graduating, you ended up building a practice in Sandwich Town.
I did. Yeah, so I practiced for almost 5 years before I launched at a firm, before I launched my own practice.
Yeah.
Launched my own practice in 2018, focusing exclusively on employment and labor law, and did that up until this year when I transitioned to this role here at the Community Housing Corp.
Was it tough to leave the business?
Very tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was a difficult decision that I didn't make lightly. There was difficulty in the decision with the work that I was doing, but also in parting ways with an amazing assistant that I had. That, frankly, if it wasn't for her, it would have been very difficult for me to do counsel and do law practice concurrently, which is what I was doing for the better part of almost 7 years.
Yeah.
So that was, if I were to go back and say what was the hardest part, it was actually parting ways. And we still stay in touch, and she's doing it. She's doing excellent and actually expecting very soon. So she's
Oh,
she's going to be a
cool.
mom soon. So
Yeah.
yeah. So shout out to Shelby.
Yes. And now for the law aspect, was anyone in your family a lawyer? Where did you originally get the idea?
I've got a cousin in Italy that is a lawyer, but nobody here, no immediate family. The idea was sparked in my second year of undergrad. I was at a place in my life where I had to close the chapter on being a soccer player because that's all I wanted to be.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I went away in my first year to South Carolina on a soccer scholarship. And you quickly realize that you could be very good here, but not so good when you're playing in a very competitive field. And so it was eye-opening for me. And I had to actually get very serious about school. And I said, okay, what do I actually want to do at this point? And, there was a few different career choices. I knew I wanted to get into a general stream of possibly business. Law was very intriguing. And what I actually enjoyed about both disciplines is how transferable they are.
Yeah.
And so knowing that even if I got a law degree, I didn't have to be necessarily a lawyer, right? And so the original plan, actually, Lyndon, believe it or not, was to go through school, get into law school, which is very difficult to do, get through law school, and then maybe practice for a few years, and then pivot into an organization. Didn't know exactly what sector, where I'd be at the time, but of course, because city council started early in my life, it made sense to continue practicing law. And so I practiced law for over 11 years, and I would say that wasn't the vision when I was in my 20s, but life circumstances sometimes bring you along a path that you don't plan for. So and I don't regret that. I really enjoyed that experience and that journey.
And then with city council, that started in 2018 for you?
Started for me in 2018. So in 2014, I got elected to the Catholic School Board. That was my first dabble into politics, and it was a primer for city council for me. It taught me so many things that I was able to take with me on day one when I got elected to city council. So, the dynamics of working with administration, how to advocate for your residents, both on issues but also, on procedural matters, how to read an agenda, get through an agenda, and understand within that agenda how to advocate for your residents and how to move the organization forward as well. And so, being a school board trustee, and the other thing too is, inevitably you make mistakes. I mean, I made mistakes as a counselor. I make mistakes all the time. But you can fail forward in a way that is, not scrutinized as much as being a city councilor, right? There's many more cameras and coverage of our work as city councilors than there were as school board trustees. So it was this environment where I got to really grow and learn, and again take that with me on my first day as a city councilor. Got elected in 2018. Had a bucket list of things that I really wanted to focus on that were very much Ward 2 specific, so west side of Windsor specific, that I campaigned on. I doggedly focused on those things and fought for them, and some of those things are actually still ongoing today. And then I decided to run for re-election in 2022 to mainly see through some of those items that we ran on in 2018. But also to step up in some capacity. So I decided to take on some leadership roles in my second term on council, like chairing the health unit, chairing the housing corporation here, and chairing the transit board and the environment, transportation, public safety committee, and other roles that I took on. So I saw my way of providing value to council and to the city in more of a leadership role in my second term. My first term was very much focused on the things that I wanted to do in Ward 2 specifically.
And now you've entered the CEO role at the Housing Corporation quite recently. Would it be less than 6 months?
Less than 6 months. I started July 7th. And so I've learned, I joke, I've learned where the washrooms are and the kitchen is and, all the important things, right? But I've spent the first a few months, in addition to all the things that we're doing operationally, I set aside time to meet with all staff, in some cases one-on-one, in other cases in group settings, and went on a listening tour, and learned a lot. And through that tour, and other things that we're doing, it's helped inform some of the decision making, and some of the the plans that we have in the short, medium, and long term for the organization. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited, working with the team that I'm working with, and we're in the midst of a housing crisis, not just in Windsor, but across the province and across the country, and to be in the sector and to help as much as possible is really a privilege for me, and I'm just I feel blessed often to be in this position.
And for those that don't know, what is the main role of the Windsor-Essex Community Housing Corporation?
Yeah, so housing is really a tangled web. When it comes to specifically social and affordable housing. We're actually one of 32 housing providers in the region. There's 32. We're the largest. We've got roughly 5,000 units. We serve roughly about 12,000 or so tenants. The second largest, for example, has a few hundred units, and then it just goes down from there. So it's a very fragmented sector, but that's not uncommon. That's kind of the case all over. We're the only province in the country that housing was actually downloaded to the municipalities. So housing, social housing throughout Canada is generally administered through the provinces, and regulated through the provinces. In Ontario, that was downloaded back in the 90s to the municipalities. And so there's 9 local housing corporations throughout the province, like Windsor's, that are structured in this fashion where the assets are 100% owned by the city. So the city of Windsor owns 100% of our assets, but we're a separate board, a separate entity governed by the Corporations Act. But any type of development that we would want to do, for example, any new builds or any budget approvals, etc., would have to be approved by City Council, right? And so ourselves, for example, Toronto Community Housing, London, Hamilton, Kingston, etc., Ottawa, and several others are structured in a similar fashion. The 9 LHCs, is what they're called, local housing corps, represent about 40% of the total tenant population in the social affordable housing space in Ontario. And then there's hundreds, if not thousands, of nonprofit providers, social housing providers that make up the rest. And so we play a very impactful role in housing in Windsor-Essex specifically. And so we offer housing that's rent geared to income, which is essentially tied to your income, roughly about 30% of your income, whatever that may be. And then we offer, in addition to that, what's deemed affordable housing, which is generally 80% of the average market rate. And so we offer that for seniors, for families, for individuals, and we have a whole portfolio of housing. Most of it concentrated in the city boundary, so about 4,500 units, let's say, in the city, and about 500 units scattered throughout the county of Essex.
Wow!
So it's a big operation. We've got about 140 staff. We got roughly a $55 million operating budget, and in total, we have over $1 billion in assets that we are the stewards of, and those are the properties that we manage on an everyday basis.
And for your role as CEO, can you share what the day in the life of Fabio Costante is?
Yeah, it's very dynamic, and that's what I love about this job. I mean, you can have your schedule planned out for the week, and it's usually jam packed, but then the day happens, and everything could get shifted on a dime, right? Depending on what's happening. But it's multifaceted, multi-layered, very dynamic. It's fun. It's challenging. It's stimulating. I get to work with a team. Fundamentally, I see my role as supporting the leadership team here, empowering them to grow in their roles, to be great leaders, and create a culture that they also abide by with their direct reports, and their managers and their supervisors and all staff. And so, again, fundamentally, I see my role as supporting them, creating a really healthy corporate culture, one that's very engaging and empowering across the ranks of the institution. Also one that has strong stakeholder relations. So a lot of your time is spent dealing with your board, communicating with your board, with your stakeholders such as the City of Windsor. We have both a service manager that operates out of the city and our shareholder, of course, which is the city. And then community stakeholders. We have many partners, for example, CMHA, Family Services, Windsor-Essex, the Women's Shelter. I can list so many partners that we regularly partner with to help serve our tenants in our units. And so all these are important stakeholders that become a big part of your job. I work closely with our finance team on budgeting. We have variance reports that we go through every month, quarterly reports, and then of course our budget report that gets to the city. Right now we're in a unique time period. It's an 8-year period where we received $170 million to spend on capital renewal work. It's called repair and renew work, and so it was all levels of government that invested in our existing asset stock. So, like I said, we have over $1 billion of assets, and a lot of them over many years did not receive investments that were needed to uphold the life cycle of the asset. So this massive tranche of funding that we received, not unlike other local housing corps across the province that received similar type funding, has helped us restore and replace many of our assets to stretch out the life cycle. So we have spending targets and many targets that we have to meet every year on that. For example, this year is our biggest year where we got hit almost $40 million of spending, but then there's GHG targets, AODA targets, etc. So overseeing that with the capital team is a big priority. Working with HR on, again, building our corporate culture and retention rates, and then our operations team, who really is a big nucleus of our organization, because our operations team are the managers that are in the buildings, the clerks that work in the buildings, our custodians, our maintenance workers. These are the front-facing individuals, our CRWs, which is our community relations workers. These are front-facing staff that deal with tenants every single day. And so they can make or break the tenant experience in the buildings. And our tenant service managers, for example, are not only front-facing, but they're also the conduits between our senior leadership team and our frontline staff. And so they play a critical role. And so supporting, our operations team and making sure that they have what they need to succeed is a big part of the job. So it's like I said, it's multifaceted, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. Housing has always been a big passion of mine, and when I was on City Council, it was no secret that it was my biggest passion on City Council. A lot of the things that I pushed for in both terms revolved around housing in some capacity. And so to me, this is an extension of serving the community, I think, in a way uniquely that I feel I can, at this stage in my journey.
Quite the agenda.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I threw a lot at you. Yeah.
Outside of your CEO duties, what do you do for fun?
So, for fun. So I'm a big soccer fan now that I can't play. I ruptured my Achilles tendon like 7-8 years ago, and so I pretty much stopped playing after that. So I go watch games often. I got season tickets for many years now to this club called Detroit City FC. They're like 10 minutes away.
Yep.
I would highly recommend anyone who hasn't been to check them out. Like I said, they're 10 minutes away in Detroit. Tickets are very cheap. Food and drink is very cheap there. There's no bad seat. It's a great vibe, a great time. So I do that. I'll read. I like to read all different types of books. Go out with friends. I'm at the age now where I don't go out too late, because there's a certain time where you just start getting tired, right? And so if I'm not out by like dinner-ish time, there's a good chance I'm not going to go out. So you got to catch me before dinner. But just basic things like that. And then, of course, I really like to travel. So traveling was something that I got to really experience between undergrad and my MBA. Me and a friend, my buddy Max, we took 2 months and we backpacked through Europe. And we had no money. Like, I had no money. I don't know about Max, but I had no money. I did this on a shoestring budget. We stayed in hostels. We just really roughed it out. We had a budget of like $30 or $40 a day at the time. And we were able to get through,
Wow.
But since then, it was kind of like this drug that I got addicted to. Like, I really wanted to see the world, right? There was so much I learned, so many people I've met, so many experiences that I've had. And there was just this energy about traveling and seeing things for the first time that I wanted to continue doing. And so I've been privileged to continue that. Last year, I did a bit of a tour in South America.
Wow.
I've got a lot of family in Italy, so I've been back and forth several times. Once again, in between studies in my 20s, I took my beat-up Z28 Cavalier with another friend of mine, Alex, and we drove across the country. So I got to see Canada. We spent a month doing that.
Holy smokes!
And it's amazing how diverse our country is, geographically, culturally. I mean, it's insane. It's such a massive, beautiful country that I would have never truly understood and known, but for being able to actually travel across it, right? So and I've gone to many other places, but I love traveling. I want to continue doing it. It gets harder as you get older. You may make more money, but you just have less time. Whereas when I was younger, I had more time. I just didn't have money, right? So it's tough either way. But if I could give any piece of advice for folks that are much younger than I am and that are thinking about it but may worry because they don't have the money, my advice is try to find, take out a line of credit if you have to, of $5,000 or $10,000, and do it. You'll never ever regret it.
Yes.
You'll never regret backpacking for a month somewhere if you're able to, because like I said, time is much more scarce as you get older, and it just gets more difficult to do those trips. I don't think my board would be happy if I took off for 2 months.
Yeah. Very cool. And final question for you: what's next in the next year for yourself and the organization, and where you want to take it?
So right now we're getting through budget cycle. We're working with our service manager, with the shareholder on budget. Internally, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of targets that we need to meet, like the repair and renew funding that I was mentioning. There's things that we want to do on building culture here and retention. So a lot of the focus right now is internal, and is getting us and positioning us for long term. If government wants to invest in housing and they want to build, that we're ready, willing, and able. But right now, the focus is really, internally, building the culture, hitting our targets, getting our budget, done properly, and having good oversight, building good relations with our service manager, with our stakeholders, with our shareholder, and doing all the small things right, transparently, and then from there we hope to be ready to grow when government wants to build more housing. We're ready and willing and able.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for the future of CHC, or We CHC. What's the
CHC is a proper acronym, because We CHC is actually a different organization.
Okay.
So we had to abbreviate it to CHC.
Yes, gotcha. Well, thank you very much for your time, Fabio, your insights, and walking us really through your career and your life so far. And hopefully you get to go on a trip soon.
Thanks. Yes. You got to convince my board.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Visit coffeewithcrainer.com to rewatch the episode if you missed it.